Okay, so we're live on YouTube now as well, so welcome to anybody joining from over there, and also if you're watching later, then welcome as well. Hi. So for those of you that don't know me, I am Leah and I am a pregnancy yoga teacher, but I'm also I'm an obstetrics and gynecology doctor, and I'm going to be taking you through your 1-hour pregnancy yoga class as part of our Having a Positive Pregnancy in a Pandemic free course on the Birth Collective. So if you haven't joined us before, then welcome. I'm just going to go over a few things in terms of housekeeping, just so that you guys know. For those of you that have joined me in previous weeks, then fantastic. You can switch off for these next couple of minutes. But I just wanted to let you know that obviously I can't see you. I don't know what your body is looking like on here. So it's really important that you focus on tuning into what's going on in your own body and just go within the limits of how your body feels. So if you're feeling pain or sharp twinges or something that just doesn't feel right, then please stop. And I'm going to give you various alterations and modifications that you can use through the class this evening. So just listen out for those and really listen in to what your body needs tonight. This is for you. It's for nobody else. Nobody can see you. We don't have to compete with ourselves here. So if you need a more gentle class, then just take those more gentle options that are going to be given, or stop in child's pose at any point where you need to rest. So for tonight's class, what you're going to need in the way of props is a book or a block. So I've got a couple of yoga blocks here. So you can have anything. Just I always point out, you don't need specific yoga blocks. You don't need props that are designed for yoga. If you've got them, that's fantastic. Otherwise, a large book, like a chunky book, will be fine. And I would definitely say, as well as that, or instead of that, that you have a couple of cushions. So I've just got a couple of cushions here. So something that's going to give you a lift and elevation that you can sit on, and potentially that you can use instead of a big book if you haven't got that, just to lean on in some of the other poses. The other thing that I would definitely recommend having is a blanket or a towel. So I've got this. We can use this a couple of ways. So we can roll this up and use it as a bolster. If you've got a pregnancy yoga pillow or a bolster like this, that's fantastic. Have that handy. But otherwise, a rolled up towel or blanket will do just fine. If you have a bolster, also have a towel or a blanket, because we'll probably need that as well at some point in class. So that's it. When you've got all your paraphernalia together, come and join me on the mat and we'll get started. So I'm just going to move things around, so bear with me. So you'll be pleased to hear that for tonight's class, we're going to be coming into a lying position. So we're going to lie down on our side. So what you might want to have handy here is your blanket or a cushion to put under your head, just to kind of give you that extra bit of lift if you've got soreness in your neck. We're going to be here for a little while, so make sure you set yourself up nice and comfy. The other thing that would be really good to have is your 2 cushions or your bolster. So you're going to come to your left side. So just gently find your way down there. Support yourself to get there. And then you've either got your cushion or your blanket under your head. And then you can take your 2 cushions here or your bolster under your right knee. So your left leg is extended out towards the end of the mat, maybe slightly bent there, just a soft, gentle bend in the knee. But the right knee, you want it to try and be level with the hip here, so that you're not collapsing down here. If you are, don't worry too much if you can't get that precise lift with a load of cushions. That's okay, but you just want to be comfy. So just take your time, sit yourself up, make sure your shoulder is sort of just drawn away from the ear so it's not hunched up and squished. And just take a moment to settle in, have a little last fidget, a last move around to get yourself in that final comfy position. And once you're there, see if you can just avoid the urge to fidget now. So just settle into your final side lying pose here. And then we're just gonna maybe rest your right hand on your belly or on your hip or on the floor in front of you, a point that feels comfortable for you. And we're just gonna take 3 deep and cleansing breaths to begin our practice. So deeply breathing in through the nose and then sighing out through the mouth. Taking 2 more like that. Taking another inhale for 2. And just letting everything go on the exhale. And taking your final breath here as we deeply inhale, maybe the biggest breath you've taken all day, feeling the expansion through the side of the ribs into the hollow bones, and then maybe creating a sound if that feels nice, letting it go, just sighing out, letting everything go. And just letting the breath settle now, so falling into its own pattern. Seeing if it feels okay to just breathe in and out through the nose now. So letting your breath fall into its own rhythm of inhales and exhales through the nose. And we're just going to begin here, tuning into the body, finding a connection, letting the mind settle. Feeling the support of the floor beneath you and the heaviness of your body pressing down into the mat. Just allowing your body to be supported there. Starting to scan down through the body as we turn the focus inwards. Noticing sensations through the head, into the jaw. Are you holding any tightness there? And if you are, don't get caught up in why that might be. Just noticing it. Find that interested detachment. And noticing curious mind without getting caught up in any emotional connection with that physical sensation. Scanning down through the neck, into the shoulders, into the arms, moving down all the way to the fingertips, checking in with the sensation there. Moving back up now to the chest, into the shoulders, an area where we might hold a lot of tension. And then moving around the back of the shoulders all the way down into the upper back, middle back, scanning down into the lower back and the sacrum, the area of particular sensitivity in pregnancy. Drawing the focus round into the rib cage. Moving down and pausing now in your pelvis, pausing at your baby. Noticing here any feelings, so those physical sensations. Depending on where you are in your pregnancy, you may feel movements there, you may feel a fullness, a pulling sensation, stretching, a heaviness, and just noticing that with interest. And focusing deeper inside now, and towards your baby. Finding a connection there. And at this point, You're going to just set an intention for your practice. So by this, I just mean something that you need a little bit more of in your life, something you wish to cultivate. I'm going to try and focus in on that at points during our practice. Seeing if we can connect in with that emotion, that sensation a little bit more. And so we just find this by checking in with ourselves, noticing what we might need. And if nothing immediately springs to mind, don't stress or churn through your mind looking for something. You can just find a collective intention here of compassion. So choosing that perhaps this week, as we practice in this remote setting where we can't see each other, but we know we're practicing together. There's that shared collective intention which we can bring into our practice. So a compassion here for both ourselves, maybe other people in our lives. It's a difficult time. We're living with other people. Intentions can run high here, and just being kind to ourselves and being kind to the people around us. Maybe sending out that compassion just generally into the world, those around us. Just holding on to that as we sit here, connecting into your baby, connecting into this intention. And then scanning down through the legs, down into the backs of the thighs, the fronts, into the knees, into the lower legs, all the way down into the feet. Just taking a global overview of that body now. And then focusing a little deeper inward towards the breath. Noticing the rise and fall. So in the same way as we checked in with the body, we're just going to check in with the breath and notice how you're breathing tonight. And that may seem a really funny thing to ask yourself. We just breathe, right? But just seeing if you can notice how you are holding your breath. So is the breath being held in the upper chest? We're breathing shallowly. Are we breathing into the belly? Maybe there's less space there in the belly if you're a bit further on in your pregnancy. Do the ribs to the side expand as we breathe? And again, not noticing this with any criticism or judgment, just observing, tuning into the body. And just following those waves of breath, avoiding the urge to control or alter it anyway. And just following each inhale and exhale. As the air passes through the nostrils, follow that breath all the way into your lungs. And then notice the sensations as you exhale, perhaps a softening here as you breathe out. And finding an openness and an expansion as you inhale. And then exhaling, finding that release, that surrendering sensation as you breathe out. I'm just going to start to control the breath now a little bit more. So taking a more deliberate breath as you breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. And follow that wave of breath as you breathe in, feel expansion through the belly, into the rib cage and up towards the collarbones, filling as if you're filling a big vase. Exhaling, finding that reverse of movement of the breath as your collarbones draw down. Chest falls and your belly draws in. Finding expansion and opening as you inhale, belly, rib cage, and collarbone. And then exhaling, collarbone, rib cage, and belly. Taking 2 more breaths like this, finding that liquidity of the breath, that gentle movement up through the body from the belly. And then exhaling, rippling through the breath as you breathe out. If you have Ujjayi breath as part of your practice, then activating that now. So this is the oceanic sound of the breath that we create by gently creating a constriction at the back of the throat. So it's that same sound, that same sensation as if we're breathing out, fogging a mirror. But we do this with the mouth closed, breathing in and out through the nose. So it sounds like an ocean crashing onto the shore, or gently rippling onto the shore. Moving the pebbles back and forth as you breathe in and out. And this helps us focus our attention, our breath, as we connect into our postures as we begin to move. Taking 2 more breaths now, if you're able to activate that Ujjayi breath. And then 1 last deep inhale and exhale. From here, moving your props just to the side now. You can keep your blanket under your head or put a pillow there if it helps a little to lift your neck up. So it may feel nice to have that little stretch on the right side of the neck. But if not, and you want it level and you want a bit more support, then go ahead and put a pillow or a cushion there. You're going to bend both knees up so that they're just below that level of the hip. And we're just going to take some movements into the shoulder. So we're going to work through a lot of shoulder stuff through the class tonight. So if you've been working from home and sitting at a desk, this would be nice in terms of opening up that space there. So as you start to move, you're going to take an inhale, palm to palm, and then allow that right arm to stroke up the inside edge of the forearm. Exhaling, pushing it back down, finding the palm again. And taking another inhale, and start to move a little bit more now. As we stroke up through the arm, we're going to release it over to the other side, so stretching out over to the wall behind you. Exhaling, coming all the way back round like a big circle as you meet the palm again. So we're going to create these little semicircles. So inhaling, bringing the arm up the forearm of the left arm and then stretching out behind you, reaching back. Exhaling, bringing the arm overhead, meeting the palm on the other side. You're going to take 1 more like that. So inhaling, just starting to find mobility and movement in the shoulder. Exhaling, bringing it all the way back around. Really nice. And taking another one here, as you inhale, bring the arm all the way back over, look over to the palm, and then we're going to bring the arm all the way up. So you're just bringing it so it's directly level above that right shoulder. From here, I just want you to place your hand in towards the rib cage, so just under where your armpit is, and just find a little bit of movement there. So just rotate your arm, creating little circles, and feel into that joint there. So feel into the breast muscle, in towards the armpit, into the rib cage, and feel the movement there. So just connecting in with that joint. And then just pausing in stillness here. Bring the left arm out to the side again. And then you're going to reach overhead with that right arm. And you're going to bring the arm over your head and see if you can just clasp just above your ears so that you're cradling your head here. Feel that openness into the rib cage. And then start to bring that right elbow back. So there's a tendency here to lean forward a little. We just want to draw that right shoulder down the back so that your right elbow is pointing directly towards the ceiling. As you draw the shoulder down, feel that space creating inside the rib cage, into the shoulder joint. And then you're going to start to move. So as you inhale, draw the shoulder up towards the ceiling and lift your head. Exhaling, releasing back down. Taking another inhale. And then this time allow the right hip to hike up towards the shoulder. And then exhale down. So you're creating a little cinching in the waist here, inhaling, lifting up. A little shortening in the side of the body here as you open up through the shoulder and activate those oblique muscles. Taking one more here. It's really nice. And then just allowing the head to soften to the floor, reaching the arm up towards the feet. And then allow that arm just to hover on the hip and stretch the fingertips down towards the foot. And see if you can allow your head to drop a little here. So if it's supported on a cushion, that's fine. But see if you can create a bit of weight there. So you're stretching into the neck, into the shoulder a little bit more, into that top aspect of the shoulder. Nice. And then just gently with care, supporting yourselves to roll onto your back. I'm going to take a few little rocks from side to side. So bringing your knees bent towards your chest so that the knees are hovering above your hips. And the knees are bent here, and then the feet are bent. We're just going to rock from side to side here. So not going too far here. So we're controlling this movement and not allowing gravity to take over. It's a gentle, controlled sway from side to side. Engage the pelvic floor muscles here as you rock from side to side, palms facing up. Keep the feet parallel, keep the shins parallel as you move with control here. And then we're going to rock all the way over to the right side this time. So coming onto your opposite side, I'm just going to swing around so you can see me. So just stay as you are rocking onto your right side. And then from here, coming into your shoulder work on the opposite side. So left palm on top of right palm this time. And then just starting to move as you slide the left arm up the right. Moving back down. And then taking another one, we're going to move into this little twisting motion as we draw the arm all the way over towards the left side. And then sweep that left arm over top, meeting the right palm. And coming into that again. So nice stroke up. And follow that whole movement with the breath, drawing the focus towards that left palm. And then sweeping it back around. And taking two more here. Moving, inhaling, sweeping over with the breath all the way to the left side. And then creating that lovely arc with the arm. And so last one here. Reaching and stretching, and then lifting that arm up towards the ceiling. And find that space again, connecting into the joint, holding the area into the armpit, just into the breastbone so that you're feeling the shoulder. Maybe the thumb is on top of the shoulder here. And then you're just kind of creating a little rotation here in the shoulder so that you're connecting in with that joint, twisting the whole arm around as if you're screwing in a light bulb here. And then releasing that hold onto the shoulder, stretching the arm up, reaching overhead, and then just supporting the head just above the ear, allowing the head to rest back down. Find that movement again with the left elbow. So notice if you're dropping forward a little here and reach that left elbow towards the ceiling, the left shoulder draws down the spine. And find an opening again here through the rib cage into the shoulder. Finding expansion and space that you create for yourself. And then as you inhale, we're going to draw the head off the floor a little. So cinching the head up towards the ceiling. And then with control, allowing it to drop down the exhale. Taking another inhale and allow the hip to hike up towards the shoulder. Exhaling, drawing down. And taking another cue here. So we're inhaling and the hip hikes up. So you're not lifting the body off the floor in any way, but you're just allowing the hip to find a connection with the upper body here. So imagining you could lift the hip off the floor. Just taking two more here with the breath, inhaling. So we're just sort of shortening that left side of the body and taking one last one. Really nice. Exhaling, releasing down. From here, we're going to rock back onto our back. And we're going to draw the knees up again. We're going to take a happy baby here. So we're going to do a few variations with happy baby. So draw the knees towards the armpits. Now you may have limited movement in the hips into the hamstrings here. So it may be that you can just grab hold of behind the knees or holding onto the calves here. Maybe you've got hold of the big toe with the two peace fingers, maybe the outside edge of the feet here with the hands. And you're just going to allow the lower back to soften towards the floor, creating an opening into the hips. And careful here with pelvic girdle pain. So if this feels too much, if it feels twingy on your pelvic girdle, then just drawing your knees towards your chest and keeping them parallel and taking little gentle rocks from side to side. Just pausing now wherever you are. And we're going to take some little stretches through the legs. So drawing the right knee towards the chest a little bit more. We're going to release the left foot and we're going to extend out towards the end of our mat, flexing through the heel so that whole foot's activated. We're not going to put it on the floor. We're going to draw back in towards our happy baby with control. And then on the next breath, we're going to move out with the right leg. So right leg extends out. And then exhaling, drawing the right knee back, holding on to wherever you've got. Left leg extends, inhaling, moving with control and the whole length of the breath here. Exhaling, drawing the left foot back in. Inhaling, and extending through the heel. Exhaling, drawing back in. So we're just going to take one more on either side here. So inhaling, extending through that left leg, really reach through the heel here. Exhaling, moving back through the breath as you hold onto the left foot. And then right leg extends out and really stretch and draw that left knee in towards the armpit here. And then exhaling, releasing. Really nice. And draw the knees in towards the chest if they're not already there. Take a gentle rock from side to side. And then we're going to roll over to the left side and just roll up towards a seated position. So from here, we're just going to kneel for a moment. We're just going to do a little breath work. If kneeling is really uncomfortable for you, seated is absolutely fine. You want to have a pillow between your bum and your heels. That might help a little bit with a cushioning support. So just do what works for you. I'm just going to take a little breath here, Brahma Mudra. So just closing down your eyes for a moment. And as you inhale, breathe in, expand. Exhaling, releasing the shoulders. Draw your baby in. Take another inhale. And then as you exhale, you're going to draw your chin towards the left shoulder. Looking over the left shoulder. Inhaling, returning to center. Exhaling, looking over the right shoulder. Inhaling, coming back to center. Exhaling, drawing the chin towards the ceiling. Really nice. Inhaling, back to the center. And exhaling, chin to chest. Take another inhale, back to the midline. Exhaling, looking over the left shoulder. Inhaling, back to center. And exhaling towards the right. Moving with complete time with the breath here as you inhale, always back to center. Exhaling, chin towards the chest, the ceiling here. Try not to overextend through the neck as you inhale back to the middle. And exhaling, drawing chin towards your chest. Just taking one more round here, inhaling back to center. And taking a turn to the left as you exhale. And finding that connection with breath the whole time as you move breath and movement completely in unison here. So you're not finishing the breath before the movement ends. And equally, you're not finishing the movement before the breath ends. Finding that unison, that connection, movement and breath. Back to the center one more time. And just pausing here. And then reaching, leaning forward a little. We're going to come to some reverse tabletop lift. So we're just going to work through. So move the blanket out of the way if it's there, and then place your hands on the floor about half a foot behind you, so that the wrists are sort of. If you were to lean back a little here and bend your elbows, the elbows are elbows are above the wrists, and then take the feet out in front of you. So you've got this sort of about a 90-degree angle at the knees, and then you're just going to push into the hands, push into the feet, and draw the knees forward to the end of the mat as you lift your hips off the floor. Exhaling, releasing your bum down, so you're almost swinging it back. Take another one. As you inhale, lift up, drive up through the hips into the bum. Exhaling, drawing the bum back down towards the floor. Take another one here. As you inhale, lift up. Doing this reverse tabletop, strengthening through the arms, engaging through the bum as you move again with the breath. And taking one more. And then allowing the bum to settle. And just pausing here, maybe giving your wrists a little wiggle and a shake if they're feeling a little bit achy. And placing the hands back. We're going to do a few more of these, and either coming into this again, or you can extend the feet out in front of you, coming into a slightly more challenging variation. So Parsvakonasana. So we're going to lift up through the hips, opening through the shoulders into the belly. And then exhaling, dropping down. Everybody bringing your knees back in, coming into reverse tabletop. Lifting up. Exhaling, dropping down. Either staying with your reverse tabletop or extending the legs out for the next one. Lifting up through the hips, opening through the shoulders. Exhaling, dropping down. Bring the feet in, lifting up. And exhaling, dropping down. I'm going to take one more round after this, so lifting up, coming into either the extended version or the bent knee. And then last one here, reversing your tabletop, lifting up. And then exhaling, dropping down, really nice. Crossing the legs over, wriggling the hands out if you want to here. And we're going to rock over into our tabletop. So finding your tabletop the other way. So bringing your wrists underneath your shoulders, your knees under your hips. We're going to take a couple of cat-cows here. So we're just going to inhale as we glide the chest forward, belly draws to the floor. Exhaling, belly draws towards the ceiling as you drop your head down. And taking an inhale, gliding the chest forward, make sure the shoulders are away from the ears. And then exhaling, tailbone tucks under, rounding through the spine and dropping the head. Taking another inhale here, really spread the fingers and grind down into the floor with your hands. So you're finding that full connection into the thumb bases. Fingers are spread like starfish. And the shoulders draw away from the ears as you slide the body forward here, exhaling. Tailbone tucks under and round through the spine. Taking one more here, finding that increase in movements as you shine your chest to the front of the mat. Exhaling, tailbone tucks under. Really nice. Coming back into your neutral spine again. Bringing your fingers about half a foot forward here. So you're just extending that reach a little here. We're going to come into our first downward facing dog. So tucking the toes and drawing the bum back towards the heels. And then from here, you're going to start to push up towards your downward facing dog. So the feet here are hip width or wider. So whatever feels right for you, depending on how far you are in pregnancy, it might feel nice to have a little bit more of a wider stance, a bit more of a stable base here. And you're really bending into the knees here, drawing the bum back towards the heels. So you're really pushing into your hands as you glide the body back towards the back of the mat. And then maybe start to walk out one heel and the other. So straightening the left leg, bending the right. Moving with the next breath as you inhale. And then exhaling, bending the left knee, right leg straightens. Doing one more on either side here. So we switch sides. Inhaling and then exhaling, softening down that left heel. And then coming on to the opposite side. So really stretching out through that right hamstring as your left knee bends, the right heel moves more towards the floor. And coming into your downward facing dog, just a moment of stillness there. And just checking in, are you forward here? Are you kind of coming into this sort of weird slightly forward plank here where your arms are shaking and you're taking too much tension through the front of the body. If you are, bend your knees, shift your hips back towards your heels and reach back with your hips as if there's a belt around your hips and it's lifting you up. Engage through the pelvic floor. Draw your baby to your belly and then start to kick the right leg up towards the sky, flexing through the heel, and then step it behind the right wrist. So you're creating a nice wide stance here. Left knee drops to the floor. By all means, have your blanket nearby underneath your knee if you need a little extra cushioning. Untuck the toe of the back foot. Push into the front foot, and we're just going to come up into a low lunge. Lift up with the chest here, and we're going to come into some cactus dips, so reaching up through the fingertips. If you've got pelvic girdle issues, then bringing that left knee in a little bit more so you've got a more boxy squat. And what I mean by that is having the left knee under the left hip, right ankle under the right knee, so you've got this box shape. If there's no pelvic girdle issues here, you can shift that right foot forward a little bit, creating more of a stretch through the front thigh. As you inhale, lift up. Exhaling, sinking down, drawing the elbows towards the rib cage, like cactusing the arms. Inhaling, lifting up. Exhaling, see if you can wrap the shoulders together here behind you, drawing the elbows as if you're trying to make them kiss. And then inhaling, lifting up. Exhaling, sinking down. Inhaling, lifting up. One last one here. Exhaling. And then inhaling, lifting up. Left arm draws back, right arm forward. So you're coming to this sort of warrior variation of your arms. Sweep the left arm round to meet the right and draw both arms up towards the ceiling. Splitting the arms, so right arm draws forward, left arm back. Left arm sweeps round to meet the right and both arms lift towards the ceiling. Splitting the arms, right arm down, left arm down. Sweep the left arm all the way around and reaching out. One last one here. Moving with your breath. And then from here, we're just going to pause, opening through the chest, lifting up, and then exhaling, bringing the hands to the floor. Step the right knee back to meet the left. You're going to come into your variation of vinyasa. If you haven't done this with me before, you have two options. Option one is to come into a push-up where your shoulders are over the wrists here, and you're just going to come down to this baby push-up here. So knees are bent, and you're like a boxy kind of push-up. Option two is to bring the knees a little further back and coming into a tricep push-up here. So zipping the elbows in and lifting up. Taking whichever variation works for you now as you come into your push-up. And then walking the hands to the back of the mat. Fingertips point towards the toes. You lift up, opening through the chest. Exhaling, dropping down. Walking the hands to the front of the mat. Tucking the toes. Coming back into your downward facing dog. Left leg kicks up this time, stepping the left foot to the front of the mat behind the left wrist, bringing the right knee down wherever is appropriate for you here. So coming into whatever variation of lunge works in your hips. Inhaling, lifting up, shoulders draw down, opening through the chest as you puff up. Exhaling, sink down, cactusing the arms, shoulders draw together. Inhaling, lifting up. Exhaling, sinking down. Inhaling, lifting up. Exhaling, inhaling, one last one here. Exhaling, drawing the elbows towards each other here as you inhale, really glide up with the arms and then splitting the arms into this variation of warrior sort of thing. So you've got your arms pointing towards the front and the back of the mat. Sliding the right arm down to meet the left and bringing both up together. We're creating these little circles here. So we split the arms at the top, reach to the front of the back of the mat, right arm draws up and around towards the ceiling with the left. And sliding back, and then meeting arms together in the center, splitting the arms, right draws back, left forward, right sweeps around to meet the left, lifting up. One last one here, moving with the breath, lifting up, opening up, puffing up the chest for one last little lunge here, and then dropping the hands to the floor. Stepping the left knee to meet the right, coming into your baby push-up variation, walking the hands to the back of the mat. Fingertips point to your toes as you puff up, lifting through the chest. Exhaling, bum to heels. Walking the hands to the front of the mat, pushing into the wrists, into the fingers, tucking the toes, and lifting up to your downward facing dog. So you can either come here or knees wide, toes touch, just come into a child's pose for a moment. We're going to take 3 breaths wherever you're at. And breathing in deeply, maybe sighing out through the mouth. Taking one more like that. Nice deep inhale through the nose and sighing out. Just letting it all go. And one more breath here, breathing in through the nose. Then out through the nose or the mouth, whatever works for you. Walking the hands to the back of the mat now, fingertips are just pushing onto the floor, bending the knees as much as you need to get there. Holding opposite elbows and dropping the head here, allowing it to be loose and relaxed here. And then allowing the arms to release, bending into the knees, and rolling all your way up towards standing Tadasana. So coming to the back of your mat here in your Tadasana mountain pose, lifting the toes up the floor, spreading them down and planting them on the floor. Shift the weight into the back of the heels so that your weight is distributed evenly between the front and the back. Lift up, engaging the thighs here. Draw down the tailbone to the floor so you've got that equal pull and push between the front and the back of the body. Puff the chest up and palms face forward. Just close down the eyes, just pause. Really nice. From here, we're going to shift the weight into the left foot, bending into the left knee. And then you're going to start to draw the right knee up towards the chest. We're going to come into eagle pose. So bring the hands to the hips to begin with. As you draw the knee up, you're going to come into that crossed leg. So you're drawing the right thigh over the left. And you're either going to come into a single bind here where the knee is crossed over, or maybe you're going to tuck the toe behind that shin, depending on how much space you've got there. Inhaling, sweeping the arms up. If you've got the balance to do so, then you're going to cross your right arm underneath the left, coming into your eagle arms. So if you're not comfortable with this and this feels really weird, then just holding opposite shoulders, maybe bringing the palms together, maybe bringing the backs of the hands together, wherever works for your shoulder space. And we're just going to sit down a little bit more, taking another 2 breaths here. Coming into your eagle. So this is a strong one, opening up the back of the shoulders. A really good one for balance, connecting with the breath. One more breath. And with control, releasing the arms, place them back on the hips, pushing into that foot, lift that foot up and come down towards your Tadasana. Shifting into the other foot now, so give your hips a wiggle and a shake if you need to loosen up again. Shifting into the right foot now, so bend into that right supporting knee. Lifting up the left knee towards the chest. Hands to hips to begin with. And then you're going to cross that left knee over the right knee. So coming into either a single or a double bind with the knees, wherever your space, whatever space allows you. Being compassionate with your body here, not forcing anything that feels uncomfortable or too much. If you're stable and balanced here, then maybe inhaling, sweeping the arms up overhead. Maybe this time crossing the left arm under the right. Either bringing palms together or backs of hands together, or maybe just hugging the shoulders here. Working with your body, finding that compassion, lifting the shoulders up a little bit more and away from the body if they're crossed. Sit down another inch or 2, and then just taking 2 more breaths here. One more deep inhale. Sit down half an inch on that exhale. And then supporting yourself, releasing the arms, hands to hips, draw the knee in and placing it down on the floor. Give yourself a wiggle and a shake. And then coming, if you're not already at the back of the mat, standing at the back of your mat. Feet are hip widths apart here. Coming into Tadasana, as you inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. Exhale, you're going to swan dive, bending through the knees, coming down to the floor. Bend your knees as much as you need to get there. Inhaling, hands to the shins or the knees, straightening through the spine, looking to the end of your mat. Exhaling, hands to the floor as you walk yourself forward to the front of the mat. And dropping your knees here, we're coming into our vinyasa, so untuck the toes, coming into whichever variation of push-up works for you. And supporting yourself as you walk to the back of the mat and the fingertips point towards the toes, lifting up through the chest. Exhaling, palm down to heels. Walking to the front of the mat again, placing the hands there, tucking the toes, lifting up to your downward facing dog. And right leg kicks up towards the sky. This time bend the right knee if there's no pelvic girdle issues here. So that might feel a bit much if you have got anything going on in your pelvic girdle. If it isn't, just straighten that back leg out behind you, flexing through the heel and keeping it at hip level. If you're joining knee, bending the knee so the heel draws down towards the left side of your mat and the knee is pointing towards the sky. You should feel a nice opening through the front of the thigh. And then straighten everyone back into your three-legged dog. Stepping the right foot towards the front of the mat. So you're placing that right foot just behind the right wrist. We're coming up into a high lunge here. So push into the front foot and the back foot equally here. Engage the pelvic floor. As you inhale, squeeze a little more with that pelvic floor. As you exhale, lift up, maybe push to the thigh to get there. Coming into your high lunge this time. Sink down into your high lunge. Really straighten through that back leg. So there's strength and stability there. As you exhale, we're coming into these cactus dips again. Inhaling, lifting up. Exhaling, sinking down. Inhaling, lifting up. So you're just coming onto that back toe to give yourself a lift. Exhaling. One more here, inhaling. And then we're going to place that right foot down. We're going to come into these little sweeps here. Same as we did in our low lunge. So coming down into that sweeping sensation with the arms. Joining both arms to the top, splitting the arms, left arm back, right arm forward. One more here, inhaling, lifting up, splitting the arms, right arm forward, left arm back, and pausing here, placing the left foot down onto the floor. We're coming into warrior two. So heel toe that right foot, so you've got that heel to inner arch alignment of the front and back foot. Bring your knee so that it's over the ankle if you're able to, and then shift the left hip back so you're facing the long edge of the mat. Palms face down and the shoulders draw away from the ears. Sink down a little bit more into that front knee. Lift up here with that, cinch that little bit of the hip up so you've got a space between the front thigh and the side rib. Sink down a little bit more. Now flip your palms and notice how much space that creates as you do so. Bring your gaze over the front hand. One more breath here. Reach forward. Coming into reverse warrior now, we're going to have a variation with the arms just to open into the shoulders. So bringing the right hand between the shoulder blades here, draw up with the right elbow. Either from here, reaching behind you with the left hand to grab hold of the right hand. If that's far away from you, just holding on to the right elbow with the left hand. Lifting up and finding a space and opening through the ribcage, breathing into that space. Bending down into that right knee. There's a tendency to lose the bend in the knee, so just make sure that's still there. And then releasing the grip on that arm, however you have it, releasing the hands out to the side. You're going to straighten that front leg and heel toe the left foot in about a foot now. Now this is where you might want to have your block handy. So we're coming into Trikonasana, triangle pose. So I would suggest if you have a block or a book, put it on its highest setting that you are able to. Straighten through both feet and then start to shift the weight over that right leg. Bring the left hand to the hip for a moment and bring the hand down to the floor. Push into the block and start to rotate the chest towards the ceiling. Now, the idea here is obviously if we can get to the floor and you've got loads of space here, that's fine. But there's a tendency here to either bend the knee, which we don't want, or to collapse here. We want length through the body as we do, and we're trying to rotate through the chest to the ceiling. Maybe release that left arm up. Push into both feet equally. Taking another breath here. Really nice. Placing the hand back on the hip. Create a micro bend in that front knee and start to lift up. We're going to come into a reverse triangle now, so both legs straight. Left arm down to the back of the thigh. And right arm reaches up, just taking a breath here. And then we're going to turn the body towards the front of the mat, bring the hands to the hips. Coming into pyramid pose, so the feet are nice and wide here, like they're on train tracks, and the left toe is pointing to the left top corner of the mat. Right foot points forward. As you shift the weight forward towards the front of the mat, see if you can keep the hips level here. So shifting that right hip back, the left hip forward a little bit here. So if you can drive that right hip back, the left hip forward. Lengthen through the front of the body and see if you can shift yourself. So you're folding here from the hips rather than rounding or curving down. And taking one more breath. Really nice. Pushing into the front foot and coming back up. From here, we're going to come into a warrior three. So if this is too much and this balance is really challenging for you, just keep your foot low on the floor, or you can use a wall for a bit of support. Everybody keep their hands on their hips. We're going to start to bend into the front knee and start to lift that left leg off the floor. Bend into the front knee a little more. Maybe lift that left leg a little higher. Flex through the heel and really push that heel towards the back of the mat. Now lengthen the front of the body. Now come to a point that works for you. Maybe bring the hands to prayer in the center of the chest if you've got that stability to do so. Drop that left hip down if you're able to a little bit more. Lengthen through the front of the body so there's like a long line between the head and the back heel. Really nice. And then bend the front knee, soften into the left leg. And you're going to place the left hand, right hand to the floor, drop the left knee, right knee joins it. Coming into your variation, push up, walking to the back of the mat, fingertips point towards your toes, lifting up through the hips. Exhaling, bum to heels, knees wide, and everybody coming into a child's pose here. Just taking 3 deep breaths here. Sinking your bum back to your heels, softening down. Taking 2 more breaths. And 1 more. When you're ready to, shifting your weight forward and tucking the toes, coming into your downward facing dog one more time. The left leg kicks up this time, and we're going to open the left hip, so flexing through the heel, flexing through the knee, or keeping your leg at 3-legged dog with the leg straight and level at the hips. Lift up through that left knee in towards the sky, and then straighten back towards 3-legged dog, legs are parallel. Left leg steps behind the left hand, support yourself to get there if you need to, and then you're going to push into the front and back foot equally here, taking an inhale as you squeeze the pelvic floor, exhaling, pushing up into your high lunge. Sinking down, straightening through that back leg, exhaling, dropping down into your low lunge, high lunge, inhaling, lifting up. Exhaling, sinking down. You're doing really well here. This is challenging. You're listening to your body, so stopping wherever you need to or finding those modifications. One last one. Lifting up through the arms and coming into those little split turns here. So drawing the left arm forward, right arm back. Right arm sweeps round to meet the left arm, both lift to the sky. And dropping right arm back, left arm forward. And then right arm sweeps round to meet the left. One last one here. Right arm back, left arm. And we're finding space here in the shoulders as you lift up and then you draw back down, placing the right foot on the floor, left foot facing the front of the mat. I'll come to face you. So you've got your left heel towards the inside arch of the right foot. And then draw the right arm back to the back of the mat. Your body is facing that long edge of the mat. Sink down a little bit more. Flip your palms and find space in the shoulders now. And take a breath and sink down a little bit more. And taking 1 more breath. Really nice. And draw the left arm forward and sweep it back, coming into your reverse warrior, taking whatever variation works for you. So maybe it's holding the shoulder, the elbow here. Maybe it's reaching back around behind you to find that grip. And coming into that nice stretch, that opening into the under edge of the shoulder. Into the tricep here. And taking 1 more breath, bending into that front knee. Releasing that grip on the hand, finding your block, so bringing it into that left inside edge of that left foot this time. You'll toe that right foot in a little bit, shorten the stance, right hip draws back. And then you're going to slide the left side of the body towards the front of the mat, and placing the left hand wherever works for you. Right hand is on the hip. Straighten through both legs and push into both feet equally. Lean the upper body back 1/2 inch here as if you're leaning into a wall. Notice how that aligns your spine. So you're drawing your tailbone down towards that back heel, maybe lifting that right arm up towards the sky. And taking 2 more breaths. One last one. Really nice. And placing the hand on the hip, coming back up, flipping into your reverse triangle. Right arm glides down the back of the right thigh, lifting up for just a moment. And bring the hands back towards the hips. And bring that right foot in. We're coming into our pyramid pose on the opposite side. So the left foot comes to the side of the mat, right foot to the right side of the mat. And finding that inhale as you open through the chest, and then exhaling, hinging the body forward from the hips. And glide that left hip back and the right hip forward a little here. Finding that balance, finding that stability. Maybe hinge forward towards that front foot. And taking another deep inhale. And exhaling, sinking a little more. And push into both feet and coming back up. Final strong pose here. We're going to bring the hands either to the hips or to prayer in the chest and start to shift your weight forward. If you need a wall for a balance here, that's absolutely fine. If your foot just comes to here, just lifting off the floor, that's absolutely fine. Maybe you start to bend into that front knee to create a little stability as you lift that right leg up, flexing through the heel, pushing the heel towards the back of the mat, lifting forward with the chest and the head to the front of the mat. So you're creating that long line here. Drop the right hip down 1/2 inch to square things off here. One more breath. Amazing work. Placing the right foot on the floor. Left foot joins it. Knees are wide. Toes touch. And come to your child's pose. Just resting here. Walking the hands to the left side of the mat. Right hand on top of the left. Find a stretch and an opening through the right side of the body. And breathing here. And walking over to the opposite side. And finding your breath, finding the stillness starting to kick in. And then supporting yourself back to the middle as you walk your way up. And looking over onto your bum. You're just going to come into a gentle fold here. So bringing the legs wide into a straddle. Again, pelvic girdle issues, you might want to bring them a little bit closer together. I would suggest you have your cushion underneath your bum here or a block, just to give you a little height and elevate you out of your hips. From here, if you want to have your cushions or your bolster or something in front of you here, maybe a couple of things stacked on front of each other, that's absolutely fine. I want you to activate through the legs here so that the heels are flexed. But be really soft with the front of the body. We're coming into a forward fold and it's a really gentle yin supported forward fold. So you're just going to start to rock your body forward, coming to wherever works for you. So it may just be like a really 1/2 inch here. Maybe it's a little more. So you don't want to force this in any way. You're allowing gravity in your breath to find your way down there. And then resting your forehead on whatever you have there. If you need a little more support, maybe stacking your fists. Let your arms be soft, resting on your legs or maybe inside the thighs. I'm just going to take another 3 breaths here. Breathing in deeply for 1. Exhaling for 1. Breathing for 2. Exhaling for 2. And taking 1 last deep breath here for 3. And exhaling, maybe sighing out that breath through your mouth. Walking your way back up. We're just going to take our way towards the floor. So coming into whatever variation works for you in terms of your Shavasana. So if you've done with me before and you know what you like, go for it. If you're under 20 weeks, you can lie on your back. legs are nice and wide, palms facing up. Maybe coming into the variation we started with at the beginning of the class, if that feels nice. And just taking that variation there. And then taking a few moments here just to settle into your Shavasana. So working through the body now, from the toes to the head this time. Noticing any final areas of tension. Maybe noticing, are you holding tension in the jaw? If you are, just allowing that to let go. Softening the eyes, softening the head. And just taking these next few moments completely for yourself, stopping all thoughts and fidgets, just being and consolidating your practice. Shavasana. Starting to find movement as you begin to deepen your breath. Starting to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Maybe taking a little stretch, your arms and your feet. Drawing your knees into your chest if you're on your back, and rolling to your left side if you're on your left side. Moving your props to the side and just pausing in this fetal position. Connecting in with your baby one last time for your practice today. Reconnecting with that intention that we set at the beginning of the class. Finding that compassion there. Seeing if you can take that with you into your evening, into the rest of your day, if you're practicing another time. Gently supporting yourself up to a seated position with your eyes closed. And your hands together at the center of your chest. And taking the thumbs to the space between the eyebrows, reminding us to bring compassion into our thoughts. And back to the heart, reminding us to be mindful in the way that we love. Namaste. Thank you guys. Thank you for practicing with me this evening. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, we'd be really grateful if you could fill in the feedback form at the end of this course. It's really helpful to get that feedback there. And do remember, if you are watching this afterwards, or if you're watching this live, you do have your 30% off our full course, which includes a whole yoga module and also plenty of loads of other stuff, great stuff. If you type in the code POSITIVEBIRTH, that will get you your 30% off. And if you'd like to follow me on social media or on YouTube, where I've got loads of other yoga and pregnancy related resources, I'm going to put the links in the notes below. So just have a look